Now, the second big debate that I see out there when it comes to footwear is whether or not to go waterproof. Now, I'm going to do an entirely separate video on waterproof versus water resistant. It is a lot more complicated than you might think. But here's the issue with waterproofing. Let's begin with this boot. This is, as you might be able to see if it'll focus, a waterproof boot. And what that means is that the interior is actually built with a waterproof material that covers the entire inside of the boot. So when this is closed up and tied on to my leg, I can literally stand in water that goes all the way to here, and my foot will remain dry. When you're out hiking in the woods, higher country, rocks, creeks coming across the trail, creeks coming down the trail, that becomes very important. I have always bought waterproof hiking boots. Now, some of the hardcore thru hiker types will tell you that waterproof boots are basically useless. And the reason is, sooner or later you're going to get rained out. Sooner or later you're going to have to walk across a creek. And the trouble with the waterproof boot or shoe is that the same material that keeps the water out keeps the water in. And what that means is that once these are compromised and water gets in, either by running down my leg in the rain or going underwater for a second as I walk across a creek, these things become buckets. Sure, you can take them off, you can shake the water out, put it back on, but guess what? Now you have soaking wet socks, you have a soaking wet inner liner, and that thing is going to stay soaking for a long time. I have literally tried to air out shoes overnight and come out the next morning and they're still wet. Whereas, you take something like this, look at that. This shoe is basically made of mesh. And what that means is that when the water goes in this shoe, it's just going to squish right back out again. Airflow is going to travel right through this shoe and dry my feet off, even if I have to walk through a creek. And so what I've noticed is that many of the long distance thru hikers have actually kind of gone away from the big heavy boots, and they've also gone away from waterproof. But again, the Camino is not that kind of hike. What's going to really happen on the Camino? Are you going to get rained on? Almost certainly. Is that rain going to run down your legs? Yeah. Is it going to go into your shoes? Probably. However, what if it's not raining and you're just trying to walk through a little bit of grass with some dew on it in the morning? Or what happens if there's a mud puddle that's covering the entire path and there's fences on either side of the road? That's when a waterproof shoe might come in handy. Now this is another Ultra Lone Peak, but this is what's called the RSM, Rain, Snow, Mud. This, the interior of this shoe, like the boot, is completely covered in a material that makes it waterproof. Now of course it's a shoe, so the water doesn't have to get too deep before it's going to overcome the model. But for just kicking through wet grass, stepping in small mud puddles and that sort of thing, these are actually pretty nice. At least with the Ultras, I have not noticed any difference in weight or in dry time. So, I am pretty impressed with these shoes, but waterproofing isn't necessarily going to work very well in other situations. That's something you're going to have to consider. If you like this video, please give it a like by clicking that thumbs up down there. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you can get notifications of future videos. And until I see you again, buen camino.